Good morning, Catawba Bridge. It's time for your Copper Heads Up.
It's Friday, December 15th, and we successfully made it through another week and a ton of EOCs. And we're 1 week closer to the end of the semester and, more importantly, holiday break.
So let's kick back and enjoy ourselves, because what exactly would a Friday show be without our Snakebite boys?
Sadly, this is Pearson Cooper's last time at the desk. Next semester is just not going to be the same.
It won't ever be the same. But hey, Cooper, since it's our last time, let's go out with a bang. Good morning and welcome back to the Snakebite. I'm Pierce Morgan.
And I'm Cooper Ledford. With basketball and wrestling seasons now in the groove, we have a lot to catch y'all up on.
Last week, our boys wrestling team competed in the Kingsley Classic, where we finished 6th but had 4 placers. Clark Ostendorf came in 4th, while Alex Johnson and Levi Jones both finished 2nd. And senior Jarrett Eubanks wraps it up with a gold finish. Congratulations to all those guys.
Yeah, Pierce, but those guys aren't the only ones making a name for themselves on the mats. Our brand new girls wrestling team went down to Greenwood to compete in a round-robin tournament. And they absolutely dominated, as both of our middle school wrestlers, Carson Robinson and Sophia Torres, took first place, with our 2 high school girls, Maeve Murphy Booth and Sadie Weiss, taking home 2nd and 3rd.
These girls have been crushing it in their inaugural season as they take a chance on trying something new.
Dating all the way back to the dawn of civilization, the sport of wrestling is traced back to being one of mankind's oldest and most basic forms of combat. And though it was even part of the very first Olympic Games in ancient Greece, we've only recently seen a rise for women to engage in the sport. Now, as the NCAA is poised to include women's wrestling as the 91st collegiate competition, Catawba Ridge is ahead of the curve when it comes to creating a new team for Lady Copperheads. With only 6 girls taking to the mats in the first year, senior Silmar Botello says although it may be an unusual choice, the wrestling team is providing a positive opportunity for our school and the community.
I think you have to be really brave to do it. We always we hit something all the time. I always hit my head or my knee because I have a bad knee. So I feel like it's more normalized to boys to be more courage or aggressive towards fighting or stuff like that. And we normally don't support that type of activities in girls. And I think we'll be more open about it, so that's why we have a growing community.
According to Flow Wrestling, last year there were over 300,000 wrestlers competing around the United States. Only 13% of them were women. Sophomore Maeve Murphy Booth talks about how these differences don't necessarily need to be a bad thing, but just accommodated for.
1, 2. People got their stereotypes. It's a boys sport. They have a lot more muscle, I will say. So they're stronger, girls are a little weaker.
And though it's a tough sport, both mentally and physically, Coach Jeff Cole says that he's hoping to build on the momentum from the starting season into something significant at Catawba Ridge.
It's an intimidating sport. It's a one-on-one sport, so it's very hard to get into, even for boys. And then especially when it's a male-dominated sport, it's hard for girls to get interested in that. So the fact that we went from 1 girl last year to 6 girls total on the team this year, including middle school, it's a huge accomplishment for us, and we only hope to keep growing this sport.
And Maeve is up for the challenge, hoping her outlook encourages other girls to give the sport a try.
It's a super mentally and physically demanding sport, but it's super fun in the end.
For CRN TV, I'm Talia Posto.
Thanks, Talia. Last Friday, our boys basketball team's undefeated season came to an unfortunate end as they picked up their first loss against the Fort Mill Yellow Jackets, 37-48. The losing streak didn't last long, however, as the boys made a quick comeback, beating South Point 84-66 on Monday, with senior guard Zion Hager leading the way with 25 points and 6 assists, while sophomore guard Lance Barnes put up 20 along with 5 assists to get our guys back on track. They're looking to keep their winning streak running as they take on Nation 4 at 7:45 at the arena.
Yeah, Cooper, the guys have been killing it, but they aren't the only ones looking to catch a dub as our girls look to flip the script on the season. Following a 27-47 loss to Myers Park in the Barefoot Classic last week, our girls couldn't get it done against South Point on Monday. The girls are tipping off against Nation Ford tonight at 6:15 in the arena in hopes of picking up their second W on the season. Good luck, ladies.
Well, for the last snake bite of the semester and my last snake bite ever, I'm Cooper Ledford.
And I'm gonna miss you, bro. It's been a great run. Anyway, and I'm Pierce Morgan. Back to you, Eric and Reese.
And thanks to our Snakebite boys for always bringing that energy level way up right till the end. And shout out to our Lady Copperhead wrestlers for trying something new.
Now, something that's not necessarily new, but definitely different in terms of being trendy with teens, is bringing an older art form to a much younger audience.
And it's all in thanks to social media for this resurgence of magical music to Fort Mills Main Street.
Jazz to many may be a musical style from days gone by, but for a downtown Fort Mill coffee shop and art studio, Olive's Mud Puddle, jazz is a current and thriving genre. Once a month, a crowd of teenagers flood in, toting their brass and strings in hope of stepping into the jam session to express themselves. This jazz night opened up with the minor majors, regulars at Olive's, and made up of Lois and Holland majors and their dad. The group may have started out as a family trio, but as the evening went on, teen musicians stepped in to share their talents. Lois Majors, bass player and part of the original trio, shares why jazz appeals to her.
So actually, this is kind of funny. I'd started out as a classical violinist, and I loved playing classical. And my brother was, he was a jazz pianist, so I wanted nothing to do with that. But then I, picked up the bass, and I was like, this is actually kind of fun playing jazz bass.
Many of these young artists have been connected through Jazz Art Charlotte, a jazz organization that educates young musicians in hopes of getting them into the big leagues. Education in the style of music is being taught more and more in communities throughout the U.S. According to BenVaughn.com, in its heyday in the 1920s and 30s, jazz was known as the pop music of the era. But due to the rise of rock and roll in the 1950s, it lost some of its appeal. But Paul Wissett, a co-owner of Olive's Mud Puddle, says otherwise.
I've been wondering it myself, like why jazz has gotten more popular in the last few years. But I don't think that jazz really ever left us. At a certain time, jazz was like the popular music, and it informs all the music that we listen to now, from like R&B, hip-hop, even rock and roll.
Unlike other concerts, jazz bands are known for their freeform style. Most other groups practice many hours together and prepare a set list before going on stage. But during this show, these musicians just play what they feel in the moment.
Jazz is like, the whole part of it is improvisation, and that, to me, that's what I really like musically, is the things that happen in the moment.
And with jazz jam sessions getting some serious airtime on social media, it's pushing this old-time genre into a new popularity among Gen Z.
So playing jazz makes me feel, the reason I love it so much, it's like you're saying something, you're telling your story through the music.
For CRN TV, I'm Mia Jones.
So I'm not the biggest fan of jazz music, not gonna lie. I didn't even really know what it was before watching that story, and I'm probably not gonna go on Spotify and download a bunch, but I love listening to great music around the holidays. It totally gets me in the spirit.
Now, the only want that I've never actually experienced is a white Christmas. I would love to just wake up on Christmas morning and have a white blanket of snow on the ground.
Well, buddy, we live in the South, so I'm pretty sure that's not gonna happen. But we kicked Kendra out to brave the cold to see if we'll get any of that white stuff this winter.
Well, guys, is it cold? Yes, but we still have a no snow on our radar anytime soon. Today will be a little bit cooler than yesterday thanks to a little bit of a breeze, but as soon as the sun starts to set, the temperatures will be plummeting just around freezing. Now Saturday, you're gonna wanna soak up all the sunshine as the highs will look very similar today, hovering around the upper 50s. But we do have clouds rolling in and it won't be as cold as it has been the past couple nights. which is not great news. Had it had stuck around the 20s like it has been previous this week, Eric would have had his wish for a white Christmas. But we do have a low coming up from the south, which is bringing warmer air with it and a chance of some serious rainfall for Sunday. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but to have any sort of flurry or snowfall, it has to be below the freezing temperature, which is 32 degrees. And it not only has to be that cold down here, but it also has to be that cold up there. So not quite cold yet. But hey, I'm not losing any hope soon. For CRN TV, I'm Kendra Murray.
Thanks, Kendra. We're all nice and warm right now and ready to wrap up the week.
And listen, you get to see my face all next week, so you have that to look forward to. For CRN TV, I'm Reese Porter.
And I'm Eric Johnson. Have a great weekend, Copperheads.